Everyone, welcome back to my garden. Today's video is going to cover my back garden. In my last video I did cover my front garden and my side garden, and I'm just walking through my side garden, and I thought let me just show you a little bit of my side garden before I go into the backyard. So this is a continuation of my garden, what it looks like in July. It's about almost mid-July. Lots and lots of things are starting to bloom, especially the daylilies and also my other tree lilies. So this is a tree lily that is starting to bloom. I should get a better view of it in my next video, but here are some daylilies. This is a Chicago daylily, and there are some more daylilies in the back there that are starting to bloom. And I am actually loving all the color in the garden at this time of the year. But we've also been dealing with a lot of hot weather. I mean, the plants are a little sad because they aren't getting a lot of water. Tomorrow is supposed to be a full day of rain, so all of these should really perk up and look really good tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. But no matter what happens, I thought, let me just walk and show you, just stroll through the garden and show you what's happening, just the way it is. I mean, I have been watering here and there, but I could do better with watering. But tomorrow they should get well watered by nature, so I'm gonna let that happen. This is Miss Violet Buddleia. It has been blooming beautifully for the last 3 weeks or so, and it's gorgeous. And as you can see, there's lots and lots of buds still to come. So this is a beautiful, gorgeous Buddleia. And as I go into my shade garden, I think you will probably see a lot of plants are maybe looking a little sad and wilted, but that's okay. That is bound to happen in the heat of summer. And plants will typically perk up by the night and morning. And if they don't, do give them a drink of water. Lots of plants will have droopy leaves just to, in the heat of summer, and that's naturally going to happen. So this is my backyard garden, and this is kind of like the entry into the shaded area. I have tall maple trees, very old maple trees shading a huge part of my backyard. So I've kind of created a beautiful shade garden, and I absolutely love this little area. It's not quite little, it's actually quite a good sized shade garden. Lots of opportunity to plant different things, and as you can see, it's a mixed bag of different plants all over. There is lots of hostas. There is geranium, big root geranium here, which I have propagated throughout my garden from one clump that was in my garden from years and years ago. Lots of hosta. I have yellow twig dogwood. I have ostrich ferns that a friend gave me, which are planted here. I have ligularia, which is not blooming yet. I don't see any bloom stalks on it, but I think it blooms sometime in August. I do have more red yellow twig dogwoods here. I do have lots of hellebores and hostas, all kinds of hostas. I mean, there are different varieties of hosta here, and there is again a lot more hostas here. I did plant some more ostrich ferns here, given to me by my friend, and I have oak leaf hydrangea planted here. I have this beautiful, I think it's called snowberry. This is a native shrub that is planted here. I actually moved the shrub last fall from another section of my garden, and actually is doing really well here. It is thriving. It's looking amazing in this spot, and it has this bluish green foliage, which actually is quite interesting, and it does like this spot of part shade, and it's happy. Incredible hydrangea is pouty because it's not getting enough water, or it's really hot and it's sulking a little bit, but I'm sure it's gonna perk up tomorrow after the rain. This is a beautiful variegated Japanese maple. This is I don't know the name, but I think it might be moon something, and it's got a beautiful variegation, and I love how it plays with the incredible hydrangea in the back. I think those colors look really good. Still a very small tree. It still has a lot of growing up to do, but I love this tree here, and it also looks like it's happy here. And the other thing I planted here was this beautiful native eastern redbud here, which I think will look really pretty in this corner here. And as you can see, the leafcutter bees have been here. They've been eating on the leaves, and that's exactly why this is such an important source for the bees. Actually, I was observing a few days ago, the bee was making these perfect circles on these leaves. I was amazed at how beautifully they were working on these leaves, and I think that's wonderful when you plant natives and they are doing their job and attracting the right type of insects and pollinators in the garden. That's a win-win. What else is here? I mean, I do have lots of heucheras. I think these are heucherellas. These are the pumpkin spice ones. They are also happy in this spot, and they were planted last year and they're doing well. I do have Jack Frost Brunera. I also have some Acamilla mollis, native 9-bark. I also have fragrant sumac and a lot more oak leaf hydrangea here. Some of it is happy, some of it is not so happy because it's really dry. So I think that's what happens in the heat of the summer, and you know, this is expected. Lots of hostas that are starting to bloom. I do actually enjoy blooms from hostas. Some look a lot more prettier than others, but regardless, the pollinators do love them. This is a Tamukiyama Japanese maple. I recently planted it in this corner, hoping it creates a little droopy kind of structure in this part of the garden. And I'll give you another look from this angle as well. This is the walk we just finished, and it's looking really full. Even despite the heat, it's looking great. Lots of chores still to be done in the garden. I still have to deadhead. I have a lot of weeding to do, but it's been so hot that it's been really hard to be out here in the daytime and working, you know, when it's really hot. And I work full-time, so it's been hard to be in the garden first thing in the morning, or later in the evening is when I do get a little bit of time. So I do have a list of things to do in the garden, but the garden, I'm gonna show you the way it is. I mean, I think we all are in somewhat of a similar boat at any given time, especially when you have a bigger garden. There's lots to do all the time, and I'm sure you can relate to that. So this little island kind of bed here has also a mixed bag of plants. It has these are hydrangea limelight primes. I did move them from these raised beds in the back to this area in the spring, because I noticed for the last year or two they would really get burnt with all the sun in the back there, and I just want them to slowly open their flowers and not burn. And I'm trying them out in this location where they're getting a bit of part shade. So I'm hoping that they like this spot. I mean, so far they look okay. They are going to open some blooms, so I'm hoping they adjust to this new location. I do have black mondo grass in the bottom here, and it is starting to put out some blooms, and it's looking quite nice. I do have some Carl Forster grass. This is the variegated one, the yellow variegated variety. I do have Hakanakloa as well. I have hostas that I planted here. This is Bobo hydrangea, which is just starting to open its blooms. Isn't that gorgeous? And here's a look at this bed. Obviously the astilbe isn't happy with all the dry weather. And then on this side here is a whole bunch of perennials. As you can see, everything is bursting in with color. I have bee balm, which is really looking nice. This is almost done blooming, I would say. It was gorgeous last week, you know, but I couldn't get out here to film it, but it's still looking really nice. I do have also daisies, which are going over now. I need to come in here and deadhead, but they're still looking good. I do have New England aster, which is growing really tall, and daylily. This is tiger swirl daylily, which is also starting to bloom. Yeah, lots of deadheading to be done. More daylilies are blooming here. With geranium roseanne. Isn't that beautiful? I love this color combination. It's so beautiful. And then more plants here on this side. This is double scoop echinacea, which is blooming. There is also regular echinacea blooming. Coreopsis is blooming, which needs deadheading. Lavender is blooming. Veronica is also blooming and looking amazing. So this bed had peonies earlier. They are done blooming. Roses need to be deadheaded. I'm okay if the roses take a bit of a pause right now, because I'm sure Japanese beetles are out, creating havoc everywhere. So I'm going to actually cut back my roses and feed them a little bit in a day or two. That's the plan. As you can see, they need to be deadheaded. Incredible is blooming here. I do have some veggies in this bed here. Some beets. Let's see if they are. Yeah, we do have beets. So I need to start pulling some of these out. I do have cosmos that is blooming here. Let me just show you. Isn't that gorgeous? So these I started from seed. I think these are the Rubenza cosmos. Aren't they gorgeous? Love them. And I also have collard greens growing here, and some carrots growing through all this cosmos. And then this is sweet autumn love clematis, which is kind of blooming all throughout this upper trellis. Yeah, so this is what it looks like, the back garden. So these are the two beds in the back. And on this side here, I do have some roses which need deadheading. I do have a beautiful Rhodall rose which is blooming here. It's a very new rose, a baby in the garden, so it's still getting established. But lots of cone flowers are blooming. Beautiful apricot blanket flower is starting to bloom. Isn't that beautiful? I love these oranges and yellows and corals and pinks together. They look amazing. I also have a red blanket flower here which is starting to bloom, and this whole circle has a drift of firelight hydrangeas which are still maturing in this spot, and we'll see when they start to bloom how they look. And this is another clematis here which is starting to bloom. I think this one is called Avant-Garde, and it's so tiny, the flowers. I think maybe because it's just getting established in the garden, it's pretty tiny. And then this whole section here is full of color too. I do have a swath of geranium annuals in the front. These are the pelargoniums. And then sedum is starting to bloom here as well. Roses need deadheading, but as you can see, Rudbeckia and butterfly weed is starting to bloom amongst it. And again, roses need deadheading, but they're still looking good. And let me just go in here and show you the daylilies that are starting to bloom. Echinacea is blooming as well. And I actually wanted to show you this daylily that's blooming in the back. So you can see lots of milkweed has found its way here. But this is the Persian ruby daylily. Isn't this gorgeous? This is a new daylily I planted this year, and it's beautiful. I love the color. This is the new Proven Winners daylily. It's gorgeous. Agastaki is starting to open up as well. This is the Blue Fortune Agastaki, which is starting to open. Yeah, looking gorgeous. Let me get in this side and show you what's happening. Lots of yarrow is starting to bloom. That's quickfire hydrangea, which is also starting to bloom. More lilies here that are starting to bloom as well. This one is gorgeous as well. I love the color on this one. And more coreopsis starting to bloom. Yeah, and catmint galore blooming everywhere, which I absolutely love. These little daisies are done blooming. These are the snow-capped Shasta daisies. Some blooms are still on, but I think they are done. I need to cut them back. More bee balm, lots and lots more flowers here, as you can see. That is Stacky's Pomelo, I think, which is still blooming. More lilies here that are blooming. Isn't this gorgeous? It's falling over a little bit, but it's beautiful. Here, geranium is blooming. I do have David phlox, which is blooming. More coneflowers blooming there. I love how this yarrow is getting so tall. It's looking gorgeous, the yellow of the yarrow. More Rudbeckia starting to bloom there. This is Calamaris. I think it's a type of an aster. It's also been blooming for a really long time, and it's looking great. Here are some more coneflowers. I think these are the powwow wildberry, and some roses that need deadheading. This is the Cinderella fairy tale rose. Blue vervain, Verbena hasta is blooming. It's gorgeous. More daylilies blooming here. This is the tiger swirl. I think that's what it's called. Isn't that gorgeous? No, not tiger swirl. Oh, Primal Scream. This is the Proven Winners Primal Scream, and this is the South Seas daylily. I love the orange daylilies. They look amazing in the garden. More coneflowers, more gaillardia, more coreopsis, more monarda. This is a red bee balm, which is gorgeous. Snapdragons are blooming. Butterfly weed is blooming. And as you can see, my Wedge Garden is gone crazy. I mean, I have had so much produce in this garden. I think the other day I pulled 20 cucumbers. I still have a whole bunch of zucchinis to pull. I need to start harvesting. Look at how many zucchini this is growing. Here is another one, and another one, and lots more to come. Lots of cucumbers too. I mean, the cucumber plants have really been productive for me, and I think I have more cucumbers than I know what to do with, but that's a good problem to have. I've been sharing a lot, and it's been great. Tomatoes are doing well as well. Lots growing, and it's looking really good. There's a lot to harvest. There's a lot of kale there as well to harvest. So Veg Garden area is happy. I tried butternut squash for the first time in my garden. This is the baby honey nut. So lots of honey nut squashes to harvest here. Ollie is here to join me, so I had to take a bit of a break. It's so hot. He's so hot. We just got back from a small walk, and he's so hot. These are beautiful coneflowers that have started to bloom. And in this garden here, I planted the Rise Up Lilac Days Rose by Proven Winners and the Rise Up Ombres, I think it's called. It's got these orange blooms. So we'll see how those do. They're supposed to be short climbers, so you can keep them to about 5 feet tall. So we'll see how they do. I do have some, I think these are, I'm forgetting the name, but these are sneezeweed. So I think those are about to bloom. Those are the yellow sneezeweeds. So I think it'll be nice when they start to bloom. That is the meant to be Agastaki. And I have a hydrangea in the back. That one is called Torch, which is starting to bloom. And I do have herbs in the front here. I have sage, and I have thyme, and I have lavender, and I have beautiful guacamole hostas, which are starting to put out their blooms. And then I do have a Chicago hardy fig, which survived my winter. This winter was really mild. I left it in the ground, and because it is near my garage wall, it kind of survived for me. So we'll see how this one does. No fruits yet on it, but it still was really little when I planted it. It was just a little stick. So we'll see what this does. But I do enjoy it for its foliage, even if it didn't produce any figs. I do have a ornamental grass which is starting to fill in there. I have lychnis here and a variegated hibiscus, which is perennial hibiscus, which is going to be nice when it blooms, and dogwood. This is a rainbow pillar serviceberry. I have clematis, which is done blooming. Yeah, I mean, the garden is just bursting with color. Daylilies are about to open. More daylilies are opening every single day, and it's such a joy to watch. And this rose is just starting to produce its blooms. It's the first flush for this rose for some reason or the other. This is the Eleganza Oh Happy Day rose. So we'll see what that does. And yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing to see all these plants come into life and bloom. I'm sorry if I went really quickly over my garden, because there's a lot to show you. And I kind of wanted to cover this garden, the snapshot of this garden, in one go of my backyard. So you could just see overall what the garden is doing as I walk through my garden and show you. And I did spot my first monarch this morning as well. So they are on their way. They'll be here, and the garden will be buzzing with monarchs really, really soon. But I wanted to show you what the garden was looking like this evening. It's going to rain tomorrow, so all these plants will be so happy tomorrow, and I can't wait for the rain, and a really nice soak for all these plants. And then once it cools off, I will be doing some cleanup in the garden, lots of deadheading, work to be done, and just general upkeep that needs to happen. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you liked this video, and thank you for joining my channel. I noticed there was a lot of new subscribers recently, so I'm really grateful, and I'm really thankful for your support and for following my garden and watching my videos. And I hope you have a beautiful gardening day wherever you're joining me from. Thank you again, and I'll catch you very soon in another video.